So it's so common in a long-term relationship that you get complacent around each other. Things start to get a little bit boring. Your partner feels like a roommate rather than a lover, and the sex is dried up. And trust me, I get it. It can be a little bit confusing and frustrating, especially if you're a man, you're thinking like, what's going on? Like, where's my sex drive going? Like, why am I not attracted to my partner? And as a woman, you can start to doubt yourself. Like, why aren't we having the same love making we did before? Just know that it's all totally normal. And in this video, I'm gonna break down the 7 reasons why your partner is starting to feel like a roommate instead of a lover. And just know that once you see these things I'm about to share, the fix is very simple because you just do the inverse. And I'm gonna target these more specifically to men, but just know that women can start to get some clarity from these points as well. The first thing is you've stopped leading with intention. What happens to most men once they get to a certain point in their relationship, they get passive. Passivity means you're just like letting your partner make all the decisions. You're not really having an active involvement in creating new experiences or date nights or fun together. And I remember in my relationship a few years ago, I've been dating my partner Amanda for 10 years. And obviously at the start, everything's exciting and new. At around the 5-year mark, I noticed that I was going through this phase of just not really getting too much excitement or getting creative about how we had fun together. It was during COVID and we're at home and we were just in the routine. And I noticed we're just having a lot less sex. I noticed that we weren't really as like physically intimate with each other anymore in terms of kissing and touching. And I just thought it was like a testosterone thing. I remember going to get my testosterone checked or thinking it was a diet thing I needed to change. But no, the fact was I wasn't actually taking initiative. The fact was I wasn't actually going out of my way to create spontaneous fun and direction and structure in my life outside of my business. I was just very rigid in my business. And when that doesn't trickle over into creating moments of intimacy through spontaneity and fun and being intentional with how I show my love to her, then of course things get stagnant. So when I started to prioritize this, I realized that, oh no, it's not my testosterone. It was just me not infusing the spark. It was me not initiating the attraction. And the moment I started to do that, we started having way more sex, and all of a sudden, even though we're living together and not a whole lot changed externally, I had changed internally, and we were back on those terms when we first met. The next thing that will really destroy the spark in the relationship is losing that curiosity you had when you first met your partner. Now, for a lot of guys, when you're in the early stage of a relationship, you're asking questions, you're learning new things about your partner. And like in my case, again, being together for 10 years, it can be so easy to just not have that same level of curiosity about your intimate lover. And I started to make it more of a practice in my life to, when I'm out for date nights with my partner, or we're having dinner together, or we're just hanging out in nature, let's say, we're not on our phones, we're not watching something. It's treat each dinner interaction where, as an opportunity to ask them new questions. I'm naturally quite a curious person, so it allowed me to then practice, okay, what are some new questions that I haven't asked my partner before, so that I'm not allowing this newness to die in the relationship. Because the moment you let go of the curiosity and you just start to show up in a more monotonous way around your partner, then that friendship joy or the relational curiosity is gonna start to die. So think about that. What are some questions maybe you could ask your partner tonight that you haven't asked before? What was it like during her childhood or his childhood? What were her parents like growing up? What were some of the things that you happened during school? Just get really creative and try to nurture this practice of being continuously curious, and I guarantee you the love, the passion for this person that you love so much is going to come back. Now, the third thing is there's a strong chance that you may have become emotionally unavailable. For the men, this means you're bearing too much time in your business or your career. You're losing contact with the felt sense, the sensitivity, the energy that gives your relationship that real deep joy or that deep fulfillment. Remember, like the things that give us pleasure in life is feeling. Like the deeper you feel, the richer you are. So if you've lost contact with that emotional availability, then you've lost contact with feeling and connecting with your partner on that level. And I remember I've coached some really high-level entrepreneurs, and some of the things that I often say to them is you need to create space and time in your life to actually connect with your own feminine qualities. So a lot of guys are often over in their masculine, they're doing all the time. And if you can create space to be in your femininity, as a man as well, you're gonna start to bring online a lot of these creative qualities or these intuitive qualities that allow you to nurture your own internal connection. Once you have that, then it's a lot easier to nurture the emotional connection in the relationship. And if you remember that women are more emotional beings than men, she needs to connect first on an emotional level. If you're not connecting with her on an emotional level, she ain't gonna connect with you on a physical level. So don't neglect this aspect. It actually becomes the most important part, staying emotionally available for your partner. And the way that you can do that practically is create space in your life where you're doing feminine practices, dancing, in nature, just listening to more music in general, creative writing, just doing things that are getting you into self-expression is gonna help you connect with your emotions, but then also doing things where you're not in your head all the time. Just be in your body more. Now, the next thing that will cause your relationship to feel like you're living with a roommate instead of a lover is there's no edge. You've lost the edge. As a man, you need to have this edge, this spontaneity, this mysterious element about you where you're constantly trying new things and shifting your identity and stepping into new explorations or adventures. Because it's so attractive for the feminine to be around a man who's constantly stretching himself. He's not just like cruising and comfortable. Just examine this in your career or your business right now. Like, where are you cruising? Where have you like taken the foot off the gas and you're just playing it safe? Okay, and I looked at this in my life a few years ago. Again, back when I was living in Perth, Western Australia during COVID, it was so easy for me to create the excuse that like oh, I can't travel, like I can't explore my edges. I'm just gonna like do the same things day to day, week to week, month to month. And I wasn't bringing this aliveness. I wasn't bringing the spontaneity to the relationship. I was boring to be around. I was just like taking life a little too seriously and there was no fun. But what brought me and my partner together was the fun, was the spontaneity. We love to travel. We love to go on adventures. We love to do new things together. So when I started to take some ownership of that and I got creative around, all right, okay, how can I stretch my edge even though I'm here right now and I can't travel? What are some creative ways that I could do that? I started to attend some men's retreats. I started to surf. I started to go out and go on these hikes in my hometown that I hadn't experienced before. I started to learn skills that I always wanted to learn, like dance. I remember I joined this dance program to learn how to dance properly. And these were all new things that like brought back the aliveness in my life and the playfulness. And my partner got to benefit from that. Even though we couldn't do the things we really wanted, like travel, we still got to expand our spontaneity. So I want you to reflect on that for this week. What's a new edge you want to explore? Is it play a new sport, play a new instrument, learn a new language? What's something you've always wanted to do that maybe you haven't created the time for? Or something that you've neglecting, going in the direction of because it's a little bit scary or it's the unknown. Embrace that's what your partner really needs, and that's going to bring the spark back. Now, the next thing is maybe you've made your business or your career or your work the number one priority, and it's taken all of your attention and you're not nurturing the relationship by not giving it love and leadership and admiration. Your partner needs these things. She needs to feel that you actually care about her and you're going out of your way to show that. What happens for a lot of high performing entrepreneurs who like have big businesses that they're growing or scaling is it just takes all of their attention, and then all of a sudden they're not actually watering the plant of their relationship. They're not allowing it to grow because they're just not giving it any time or energy. So make sure you're still carving out the necessary space to show your love and admiration to your partner. It could be through little things like flowers or planning new dates or just like all the things I've mentioned already, but you've got to still go out of your way to express your love and leadership to her. The only way you can do that is you just give it some time and space to contemplate, all right, what does my partner really enjoy? What is something I can give to her today or this week that would really brighten her day and show her that I really care about her? Those little things go a long way, especially if you're running a business. It's even more important that you create that because you're probably spending a lot of time at work already. Now, the next thing that's probably happening is that you're avoiding conflict instead of using it as an opportunity to create deeper intimacy. Now, I was coaching this client of mine, his name was John, and he'd fallen into the pattern of pleasing his partner all the time, always like doing what she wanted to do, letting her kind of take the lead on the activities they were doing. He was ignoring the things that he really desired, the things that he enjoyed, the adventures he wanted to go on, the friends he wanted to hang out with. And he would avoid bringing this stuff up because he didn't want to upset his partner or his wife. And what ends up happening there, because he's suppressing his masculinity, because he's not speaking his truth, there's this resentment that starts to build. There's this energetic wall that gets created between him and his partner. And when I was working with him, I started to get him to go, you know what lights you up? What do you want to do? And even if your partner doesn't want to do it, I want you to go ahead and just tell her like, hey, cool, no worries. If you don't want to come with me on the hike today, I'm going to go anyway. And that might trigger her a little bit or whatever. But I said, man, it's totally fine. If that triggers her, that's okay. That's her stuff that she gets to work through. But you're not going to compromise yourself anymore in order to keep her happy. You need to go ahead and still do the things that light you up. And when he started to do that, his confidence came back. He started to feel like himself again. And all of a sudden his partner started to notice that too and goes, oh wow, he's just living his life. He's going out there making time for himself. And it started to get her to think outside or break some of the patterns that were perpetuating in the relationship, causing her to think that she can get what she wants all the time. So there was this new growth that came from that. And then all of a sudden he got to lean into that conflict. He got to lean into listening and holding a space for her to be like, hey, what, sweetheart, like you seem a little bit upset today about me going on that hike, or you seem a little bit distant because I'm distant today because of the decisions I made earlier. What's coming up for you? The moment I got him to lean into that conflict and use it as an opportunity to create a deeper connection together, that was the thing where they got to clear all this underlying resentment, and then ultimately it brought them closer together. So examine that in your relationship. Where are you maybe avoiding conflict to keep the peace? Where are you maybe compromising yourself in order to keep them happy? You still got to nurture the things that bring you alive outside of the relationship as well. And then if that creates conflict, address it, talk about it. Like, don't be afraid to just have a real conversation about, what's on your heart with your partner, and ultimately trust that when you deliver it correctly without being defensive and just being curious and empathetic, and then both having space to speak, you're gonna feel so connected on the other side of that. You like the spark, and you're gonna wanna have sex immediately after that, because the emotional connection precedes the physical connection. So the emotional connection will come back when you just speak more. Now, the final thing that I'll mention that is causing your relationship to feel stagnant and you're not having sex because you feel like roommates is you stopped leading yourself. Now, you cannot lead your partner unless you're leading yourself. And leading yourself means creating the discipline, creating the commitment, creating the structure in your own life to make sure that you're moving in a direction that you want to go. And I remember this started to shift for me in the early stages when I first started dating my partner. I was 24 and I was leaving my corporate job at the time, and I didn't really have a plan. I didn't have a plan for what I was doing. I was quitting my job to travel to Canada, and I could feel that my partner was like, she didn't fully understand the direction that I was going. And this created some uncertainty in the relationship because there were some big decisions that needed to be made and a crucial period where I didn't have the clarity. I wasn't leading myself to create that clarity. And it resulted in our relationship almost ending because she couldn't get behind me. She couldn't trust my leadership because I didn't make the time to create a plan. So leadership for me in that moment was creating a plan. This is where I want to go in my life in the next 3 years. This is my plan to achieve these things. These are the things I'm going to prioritize right now to make sure that this happens. And the moment I was able to enroll her into that vision and show her the plan that I had for our life, my life and ours, it was almost like she got inspired by that. She wanted to get behind that because she was attracted to the mission, attracted to the vision that I have. So if you're not leading yourself, you've lost contact with your vision and your mission. So reflect on that. What is the mission? What's the 10-year goal? And if you don't even know what it is, just play with it. Just go like, where do I want to be in 10 years? What would be the thing that really light me up if I could achieve this in 10 years? Where do I want to go? Who do I want to be around? What kind of work would I be doing? And then build a bit of a 1 to 3 year vision on how you're going to get to this 10-year goal, 10-year mission. Build out a bit of a plan, things you would need to prioritize today, this week, to move you in that direction, and then have a chat to your partner and show her, look, this is the plan. This is what I'm envisioning for our life. Are you on board? Like, anything else you want to add to this? And bring some enthusiasm and excitement into this vision you have for both of your lives. And I promise you, it's gonna just rekindle the trust that she has in you, but also give her something to get behind, to be like, fuck, you know what? He's not just thinking about himself, he's thinking about us and where we're going. Women love that. Women really want that. It gives them security. And once you have that for yourself too, you're gonna just feel so much more decisive in your day-to-day actions as well, which is gonna give you some of that masculine leadership that she's really craving as well. So there we have it. There is 7 ways that you can start to rekindle the love in your relationship instead of being stuck in roommate patterns. And if you want to go a little bit deeper into this, I've made a 30-day email sequence for men and women where you can start to get some daily insights on how you can lead, how you can step up, how you can start to step into a new level of relational connection. I'll send it straight to your email inbox. Just check the link out in the description. But remember, my bro, if you're feeling like your relationship's on the rocks like this and you're just questioning things, or you're thinking that you need to make a big change, or maybe the relationship's not meant to be, just start prioritizing some of these little things before you jump to conclusions. Don't let your mind tell you this story that, you know, something's wrong, because that nothing is wrong. And remember, something brought you and your partner together. There was an energy, there was an attraction, there was some sort of magnetic force that brought you together, and just know that's always there. And it's really just about stripping away the things that are blocking you guys from both being in that place, because things have got complacent, you've fallen into old conditioning, you've got lazy with certain areas. So just remember, you can reset this at any time by applying some of these things I just shared in this video, and I promise you, you're gonna be back on track. When your relationship's thriving again and you're thriving, you're gonna have that joy, that confidence, that fulfillment that will allow you to feel unstoppable. So go ahead and implement some of these things. I look forward to seeing you in the next video.